They're not airtight, not even close to it. Huples Cat and Gracie Fat Cat. We're going to Ottawa on Friday. We're going to be doing a lot of hiking in Ottawa and around Ottawa, and possibly some downtown walks. We're going to see a baseball game, and for me and Kitty, our first ever game of professional football. Yes, we're going to see lady soccer in Ottawa. This time around we're staying in the West End. We're going for just about 5 weeks. And as ever, Wolfie's going to come with us, and so is Gracie Cat. And as we have a Prius Prime, it's going to be a bit crowded getting there, so I suspect Kitty's going to have to do at least 2 journeys back and forth. I think it's important as we age and as society moves forward, preppers remember something very vital. Adventure and challenge needs to be done frequently. Sticking in ruts, doing the same things over and over, dealing with the same problems over and over, fixing the same problems over and over in the same old ways. That's what humans like to do. It's inherently bad for us. Now, speaking of which, I cancelled my Apocabox. Don't you know, they just went and sent me one anyway. I'm kind of annoyed. I clearly cancelled it with plenty of time. However, there is a silver lining to this story. I was victimised by a scam on my credit card. So my credit card's been deactivated and replaced. So this is in fact my last Apocabox Plus, and it's free. Thank you, Creek. I'm not posting it back to you. So I already looked at it. Absolutely confirms my decision to stop Apocabox, which I stopped for political reasons. I always have fun tearing these apart. And to be honest with you, every couple of months, these are getting easier and easier to tear apart. This is the Apocabox Plus item. It's a tiny little knife that goes around your neck so you can be strangled. And it's from Reptile Works, and it's fairly sharp. And it merely repeats what has been sent before and before and before. It's heavy. It's not at all useful. The last thing people need is another neck knife. Okay, this is the challenge which I find kind of interesting. Choose the 6 mini kits that make the most sense for your lifestyle or outings. Begin assembling gear from around the house to fill the tins using the stickers to label each one. This challenge will test your creativity, problem solving, resourcefulness. Yeah, that's exactly what I need to do with my time. They sent this, which is a canvas thing to put the 6 tins in, and then you would put them together like this and tie it up, I guess, somehow or other like this. So yeah, tiny kits. So he sent 6 tins and 9 labels. So I have to decide which 2/3 of these I actually want to stick in my tins. A survival fishing tin. No, I absolutely don't need a survival fishing tin for bugging out. What I do need is fish as a protein source in a total disaster. And I need a damn sight more effective kit than a tiny tin. Survival repair kit. Yeah, maybe. I have a lot of stuff for repair I grit down, and so should you. And a tiny tin's not enough, but you know, you might want to carry in your pocket. I don't know. A survival snare kit. Nope. If you're going to do trapping, you want to use substantial gear and you want to make sure you do it properly. And again, a tiny tin isn't really going to do you much good. A survival rescue kit. Maybe, I'm not quite sure. I don't think you could fit a whistle in there that's going to be decent, and I don't think you could fit a compass in there that's going to be decent, and there's a few other things. I don't think you could put flares in there and stuff like that. So you need a bigger tin for that, especially if you think you're going to be in a situation where people might have to rescue you. You want a bit more bulkier gear than a little tiny tin. Survival fire kit. Yeah, for sure, but why don't you just carry a Bic in 2 Ziploc bags? I guess people like waterproof survival matches. I mean, I've had them, but I really think Bics work better, and again, keep them waterproof and they'll be fine. Survival hygiene kit. Absolutely not. This falls back to military training. You do not need toothpaste, you do not need a comb, you do not need soap in a survival situation. What you might want to carry is some alcohol hand sanitizer to start fires with and to wash your hands occasionally. But get over yourself. Micro toilet paper? No. You can use leaves and grass, you can make do. It is a survival situation, is it not? Survival urban kit. Yeah, like no. You can't fit a decent crowbar in here. Survival first aid. Yeah, maybe, but probably not. You actually would need a much bulkier gear than the little tin's going to provide. I guess if you want to carry bandages in a metal tin, then fair enough. Survival water kit. Yeah, absolutely you want that. You want to have water purification tablets, you want to have clear plastic bags for sodas. You're not going to be able to fit a filter in there, and that's going to be your primary go-to in a disaster, is a decent filter like the LifeStraw Mission 12. So I only want 2 tins. Maybe I want the 2 tins. But there's a problem with the tin. Let's have a look at it. So this is a survival tin. This is a Kleenex. Look, I've made a survival toilet kit. What's one of the problems that might happen to you in a survival situation? Freshwater or saltwater immersion. The tin floats, that's good. But if you're underwater, notice something's happening to the tin. It's a bit marginal and a bit unfair, but if you have 6 tins in one of these and this is attached to your body or into a pack, and you immerse yourself in water briefly, they will completely fill with water and help hold you under the water. Not a good idea. They should absolutely be airtight. They're not airtight, not even close to it. So for that reason, if no other, I absolutely wouldn't use these tins as survival tins. From my point of view as a consumer, it probably would have been cheaper for me to buy 6 Altoid tins than to actually have these sent to me from Creek Stewart. Not that I wanted him to, because I cancelled the subscription. However, the labels are useful. I can put them on much bigger boxes and I have specific kits in there. And that's a good idea for Kitty. I know what gear I have, she does not necessarily know. And if I'm not here or if I'm dead in a catastrophe, it might be slightly helpful to label some of my boxes more appropriately with actually more accurate descriptives of what's in them. Do I need a hexa-hanging paracord gear organizer? You attach this to something and you can attach 6 things to this, or I guess you can execute 6 squirrels. Okay, he's actually put a knot on it so you can actually tighten these up if you want to, I guess, and then loosen them up fairly quickly. So that's kind of a neat thing, but I still have absolutely no concept of why I'd ever want one of these. While we're on the subject of gear I don't need, a retractable gear anchor. I guess it might have slight use, but for me, not. What about a metal multi-tensile, otherwise known as a spark? Creek claims this is much more than a spark. Aluminium, fairly heavy, absolutely useless to use. You can kind of vaguely use it as a spoon. It has a few little attachments here so you can do other things like open beer and stuff. Again, waste of money. Absolutely wouldn't use this in a survival situation. Absolutely wouldn't take this hiking. At least it's not plastic. What about a Japanese marker knife? Yeah, kind of if you like to do woodworking, I guess this is kind of a nice tool to have. If you've got time for wood carving in a survival situation, which hopefully is unlikely. You know, so far I've found absolutely nothing of any use. What about a micro chainsaw? Not very micro, is it? Voila! This is kind of sort of interesting. This appears to be a chainsaw blade. It's very sharp, be careful. Yeah, not bad. Not quite sure it's that safe to use. It's a bit far apart, which is one of the problems you would have. 2 people using it would be good. So I'll put this in my survival in the apocalypse drawer, and in a survival situation I could make more efforts to make the chain straighter. I was a little concerned it wouldn't fold off very well, but it is folding up well. This is an example of a tool that's reasonably portable, but isn't anywhere near as good as the tool it's trying to replace. I don't know if that's the way we should be aiming for in SHTF in a full collapse. I just read the bump, he reckons this can fit in a tin. Certainly not in his tins. One last item, total waste of money. Guess what's in the box? Yay! It's a small pocket knife with little attachments to it. Look at that, isn't that pretty? This has one advantage I can think of. It fits in the tin! So that's it. Hopefully I'm now done with Apocabox Plus. Save your money, invest your money on other things. Buy decent gear that's actually going to last you far better in a survival situation or in a collapse situation. Think about what your gear is. Don't just think about it from the perspective of, I have to put it in my pack and run away. Think about how you're actually going to use it 6 months, a year, 2 years later down the road. Anyway, that's it for me live for quite a long time. I won't be actually back until July. So that's it for me. Hopefully we don't have to walk back from Ottawa with the dog and the cat. If we do, we have some contingencies in place, but that's life. Take it easy. Enjoy your life. Don't just live in fear. Doodles. Oh yeah, elbows up Canada, because I'm going to go and see the King and Queen. This has been a Tiny Terrier production 2025, with production assistance from Gracie Cat.